Hello Lightworkers, this is just a quick little message before the video starts. I have opened a Telegram group and it's called Peaceful Rebellion. And so I'm going to put the link in the information on this video, just below the video in the information. You click on see more and you'll see the link. If you've got Telegram, come and join us, and it's just a chat. It's just a chat, but we can start to share ideas and things like that. If you don't have Telegram, get Telegram. It's the new, it's taking over from WhatsApp. Basically, in the month of January, 100 million people moved to Telegram from other places. So that's the place to be. Come and join the group and we can have a chat. Okay? Hello Lightworkers, how are you? Welcome to Monday. Today I'm going to talk about hypnotic past life regression and my opinion on it and my experience with it. I'll see you in the next bit. Before I start, let me just say thank you very much for all of the wonderful comments that you put on the channel. The comments really do help me, and they do give me great feedback, and I understand kind of what you're thinking, etc. So keep them coming. You know, that really helps. It inspires me to make more videos. So past life regression, hypnotic past life regression. I don't know what your opinion is about it. I don't know if you have an opinion. You know, some people don't, just think, well, I'm not really interested in it. Or some people think, well, I do have an opinion. I think it's a load of rubbish. Other people think that it's real. And I want to start with my belief about past life regression, just about what it is or what it might be. And I think it could be one of three things, or it could be all three things. I believe that past life regression could be a genetic memory, you know, passed down through the ancestors, basically. So you were getting in touch with a genetic memory. That's one possibility. Another possibility is that the experience comes from the collective unconscious. So you're kind of tapping in to this information band that we have around us. That could be another option. You know, something that we do when we're astral traveling or whatever. And another option is that, yes, you're actually going back and you're re-experiencing a life that you've lived. So that's, and of course, the other option could be that you're just making it all up. Absolutely. And I don't care. Personally, I don't give a monkey's chuff about any of those. I don't know and I don't care. And I'm going to tell you why I don't care about the truth of the matter. If you believe it to be true, beautiful. If you believe it not to be true, beautiful. It doesn't really matter. Why? Because now, since I've been doing hypnosis for the last 15 years, let's say that, and I've done an awful lot of past life regressions with people, and I've done some future life regressions too. And I've done a lot of Bardo state regressions. The Bardo state is where you take somebody and take them to the place in between lives when they're choosing to come down again. If I were going to say there's only one thing that has always stood out about the past life regressions that I've done, and that is that they have always impacted the person in a very, very big way. They've always been an extremely big influence in how that person thinks afterwards. Okay? They tend to make people feel a lot more peaceful. They tend to make people take stock of their life and look at what they're doing and why and the motivations. So the reason I don't care whether they're true or not or how they come about is that on a therapeutic basis, past life regression is up there with some of the best therapy that you can get. And I've had incredible experiences with people who desperately needed a new perspective on an old life, a very old life. One of the things that people say, and this has been thrown at me a number of times, the argument about past life regression, is this. They say, yeah, it's funny, isn't it? People go back and everybody's been Caesar. Everybody's Caesar or Cleopatra. You know, they can't just be just like a normal person. No, they've got to be somebody special. And I've heard this loads of times. And I want to know where people get that information from. Because I've done zillions and I have never had a person who was special in their past life. Never had a queen, never had a king, never had a lord. I've just had normal people doing normal things. And most times, an even more humble life than they have now. Very often a more humble life than they have now, or a more difficult life. So that argument is what I would class as a debunker's argument. A debunker generally talks about lies as though they were true, that are designed to take away all of the oomph from you. So yeah, everybody's Caesar. Debunked. And we all know about debunking, you know, that the debunkers debunk and they feel completely justified by quoting something that they might have heard from the television at some point. So, therapeutic, incredible. Past life regression and future life regression. Doesn't really matter which way you want to go. It's interesting, you can go to the future as well. But lots of people want to go back. I think there's an expression, if you want to know where you are now, you need to look at where you've come from. And I've had some really, let me give you a few stories of and I'm sure that people won't mind me. Obviously, I can't give you any names because I can't remember the names, but I can remember the stories. There was a lady that I did a past life regression with, and she was a lady who had a son who had special needs, but extreme special needs. And she was kind of like held a prisoner because she couldn't do anything. She'd had a really, really tough life, having to take care of her son. We did 2 past life regressions. In the first one, she was a nun. She was a nun in a very, very strict order. And she had a life of total and utter abstinence of everything. Like, she just had nothing in her life at all. And then in the second regression, she was in the US and she was a showgirl. She had an excellent life. She danced and sang. She ended up getting married to a wonderful man and having a beautiful family and living in the little house on the prairie style. Okay? When she came back from that experience, she cried and cried and cried and cried. And she cried because she said, I was free and I was able to express myself. She said, I had this previous existence of a nun, and it felt like the life I have now, of abstinence, of not being allowed to do anything. And then she said, and then suddenly I was entertaining people and dancing and singing, and I had a beautiful family and I had loads of kids, and it was beautiful. And that really impacted her, and I got an email from her a few weeks afterwards just saying, thank you so much for that. That's left me very peaceful. Okay, how can that be? I don't know. You've got to experience it to know how it impacts you. I then did a regression with a man who was a plastic surgeon. He was a plastic surgeon, and he also did lots and lots and lots of cosmetic things on people's faces and bodies and boobs and bums and everything. He worked something like 80 hours a week as a minimum, probably more. The only day that he took off was a Sunday, and that was it. He was an Indian gentleman, but he'd been in the UK for a long time. And so he had a regression. And when he went back, he was one of those errant wanderers, you know, the people who just wandered like a monk. Yes, that's what he was, a monk. But a monk that had no home, just wandered and just lived off getting money from people and eating from the land and things like that. And he spent all of his time meditating. And when he came back, he said, "Oh my God, I had such peace and I had nothing." He said, the only thing I had was what I was wearing and what I was carrying on my back. He said, I had absolutely nothing and I was blissfully happy. And he said, now I look at myself and I have everything. I mean, he was a very rich man. And he said, I don't know even if I'm that much happy compared to that life. Afterwards, the feedback I got from him was that he was starting to reevaluate his life and reevaluate what was important. Because there was a life where he had nothing but time, and here was a life where he had no time at all. And he had a family and he had children, he just didn't have time to spend with them. So, and that's just two stories of many. Let me tell you the tears that have flowed from the hypnotic regressions, and I've just done some recently and they were the same. There were tears flowing. Okay? I believe that we live in a karmic world, and what I mean by that is, and I've got a kind of philosophy on it, that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. They're not my words, they're words of somebody who knew better than me. And I believe that every action that we take has repercussions. For the better or for the worse, depends on the action. And the action is measured in terms of service to others, service to self. And I believe that when we go back, we can see that some lives were very, very self-centered, and it was all about me. And then we see other lives where it wasn't, it was like a life of service. And I believe that each life that we have creates either a cosmic debt that needs to be repaid, or it puts credit into our account. When we get credit, we are able to, if you imagine, we go through life, we have an energetic signature, a vibrational signature. And so we go through our life, and our job is to sort our shit out. Really, that's the bottom line. It's to sort our shit out, to understand ourselves, to make good the mistakes that we've made, apologize, put right, forgive ourselves. This is the process that we must go through. We make our mistakes, but we must review those mistakes and forgive ourselves and ask for forgiveness. And then work on living life in service to others. When we do that, our vibrational signature increases and increases. And if I understand it right from the guys upstairs, the guys and the gals, the vibrational frequency that we leave this earth with is the one that we come into the next life with. Okay? And that's why if we don't sort our shit out and we die in the shit, then we come back into the next life with that same vibrational frequency, and we start off badly again. And this is what it's all about having to learn the lessons, because those lessons will not go away until you have understood what you're doing. You watch the patterns, you watch the repetition of, I'm doing the same things, I'm hanging around the same people, I'm attracting the same people into my life. When you understand that, and then you forgive yourself, and you forgive those who've trespassed against you. And then you ask for forgiveness too. When you come to terms with that and you stop doing it, the whole act of realization and forgiveness stops it. That's it. It's the end. And then you work to spend the last part of your life building up your frequency. Now, some people come into life and they're already highly frequent and they have a lovely life. Okay, they're the lucky ones. The vast majority of us don't. The vast majority of us come into life with a bit of shit to deal with, and then if we sort it out, then we can jump up a peg. But we also choose to have our troubles. And it's not that when you come into life with a high frequency, that means everything is going to go swimmingly for you. No, because you've chosen the lessons that you want to learn. That's what you have chosen. But it's a question of how you deal with those lessons. If you deal with them very well, then you can maintain that frequency and build on it. If you handle them really badly, then you are going to reduce your frequency again. So that's what I believe karma is all about. It's about letting go, learning, letting go, forgiving, and then boosting. Yeah. And I look at my life, and the front end of my life was a train wreck. It was a car crash. And I had to go through a stage of forgiveness of myself, and asking forgiveness of the people that I hurt, because I hurt a lot of people, I know I did. But once you can let that go, you don't actually have to have people to forgive you. The act of actually sending it out there, knowing that you did wrong, and asking for forgiveness, that takes it away. It takes it away. Okay? So that's where I believe this is what this whole process is about. And that's why sometimes when we go back into previous lives, we see that we've done awful stuff. And sometimes we see that we've done wonderful stuff. And it just depends on how much resource we had at that time to deal with it. And it depends on how big of a problem we had given ourselves to deal with. Some people take on big challenges, and sometimes they manage them and sometimes they don't, and they've got to come back and take on that challenge again. So it's like a test, isn't it? Right, I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to deal with loss. Yeah, and the first time you deal with it terribly, it's a disaster. You come back and you deal with it again. Or sometimes in the same life, and you might see this, you deal with it once and you do it really badly, and then it comes around again. You just get over that one, and here it is again, and you deal with it badly, and then it comes around again, and you think, why is the universe picking on me? It's not. This is a lesson that you've got to learn, and you've got to learn how to deal with it and to overcome it and to handle it well and to forgive yourself and forgive those involved. Once you've done that, it goes away and it doesn't come back. Something else comes. Okay, another challenge. So that's my kind of take on past lives, and it's a beautiful process. I love doing it. I love taking people through it. It's very interesting. And in my past lives, I've done 2 only because I don't have somebody who can do it to me. I do it to other people, and I'm thinking, what about me? But I was a lumberjack in either Canada, I think Canada. And the next time I was a guard, a soldier, wearing armour, and I was guarding, having to stand out all night. So my lives were not special, right? But I always wanted to be a lumberjack, so there you are. That's why. So there you are. If you have any experiences of past lives or any feelings about past lives, put it in the comments. Let me see. Or any opinions that I haven't shared that you might have on that. I'd be very interested to hear them. Okay, have a lovely week. I'll see you on Friday.